some of us in the jury feel that you orchestrated and participated in bullying tactics in the house. Why was that necessary, and how did it serve your game?
I definitely don't think that I was orchestrating bullying tactics. I definitely spoke up on behalf of a lot of people. Maybe people, what they didn't voice out publicly, they would tell me privately. And I felt like I was the one who had to mediate or speak on everybody's behalf. It wasn't something that I ever solely made on my decision. It was something that everybody had to take part of.
Thank you, Paul. Matt?
Josh, the jury doesn't feel you had a strategy in the game. Tell us why we're wrong and explain your biggest game move.
Well, big surprise to you guys and to Paul is that I'm actually a super fan, and I've been a super fan since I was 14 years old, and this is my biggest dream. I've envisioned myself since I was 14 in this position. My biggest move had to be the strategic gameplay, social game that I played. I aligned with the outsiders, aligned with Jason and Alex, which were the outsiders, and I aligned also with Christmas and Paul, which were in that 9-person alliance, which I knew was going to break up. So Christmas was always giving me information, the pecking order you guys had, and I was keeping Jason and Alex calm because I knew that you guys were going to end up splitting. Luckily to Cody, that happened on week 2. Also, my biggest move had to be getting rid of Alex, one of the strongest competitors, and it was extremely hard because she was one of my closest friends in the game. So it was extremely hard, but I knew that she knew the game as well as I did, and I had to get her off because if not, she would beat me in the end.
All right. Thank you, Josh. Alex, you're next.
Paul, in your last season, your gameplay was based on friendship. This season, why did you decide to go against that by creating friendships and alliances and then destroying them?
I don't necessarily think that I destroyed any friendships or alliances. I tried to get friendship with everybody in this house, but unfortunately a lot of people either turned their back on me or I would find out we're having hypothetical conversations about getting me out. I tried to help everybody as much as I could, and I got people as far as I can, but maybe the misconception was that I would toss my game for somebody else's, and I never said that I would do that. I did help people where and when I could, but I would never toss my game or stretch my neck out in order for somebody else to just go over me.
Thank you, Paul. Cody, next question.
Josh, some in the jury feel that you played a bigger part in Paul's game than your own. Tell us why we're wrong.
I actually play my own game. Being in the business industry, one of the biggest tips that my dad gave me was always let your business partners and your people that you're doing business with feel like they have the control because they would want to invest more or they feel safer with you. I didn't want to oppose a threat, more of an ally, so I downplayed my intelligence and how smart I was and how much I knew the game. Paul was a great ally because I saw him last season and I knew that no matter what, he wasn't going to change how loyal he was. So I stuck to him and it worked.
Thank you, Josh. Jason, next question.
Paul, it seems like you made moves throughout the game with the goal of avoiding making enemies in the jury. Why unnecessarily lie to our faces days and hours before we were going to the jury? You had to have known that we would compare notes.
Of course, there were some points where I knew that certain things were going to happen, but at the same time, I did do and say everything that I was going to do. If I used the veto, I said I was going to use the veto. If I pulled someone up, I did pull someone up. But at the same time, certain people, if the house wanted a certain target out and I was outnumbered, I couldn't necessarily help that individual. I still had friendship with that individual. I was still close to that individual. But if the entire house was against them, they were too afraid to make certain decisions on their own. I had to play my part and I had to act a certain role. And I wanted to keep myself available to compete the following week. So if I had competitions thrown for certain people to win and take my targets out for me, I was still eligible to compete the following week, and just in case as a security blanket because I never knew what would happen.
Mark, next question.
Josh, it seemed like every time you had an altercation with someone in the house, it would result in you crying afterwards, apologizing, and proclaiming you wouldn't do it anymore. But it would inevitably happen again. How did this serve your game?
Well, actually, one of my game moves was to expose people's games. I knew that I was going to stay true to myself and be loyal, but having an eye, being a fan, I can easily see people's gameplay and the shady gameplay they were playing. So one of my strategies was to expose and call out people on their game. Did I feel good about it all the time? No, because I genuinely liked all of you, but it was my strategy to have the rest of the house see what a shady game some people were playing and the moves that they were making. So yes, I did feel bad about it, but it was part of my game and it got me to this point.
All right. Thank you, Josh. Now, Christmas, you were just evicted, so I want to give you a chance to ask one question, so go ahead and pick either Paul or Josh who you want to ask a question to, and ask away.
Josh? Meatball? I would like to know if you would rather evict Peppy or Crutches. And why?
Well, I would rather you make Peppy, because Peppy would storm around and chase me down with creepy Christmas hugs and drive me nuts half of the time I was here. But yeah, Peppy for sure. I love you, George.
All right, Paul and Josh, I will be back with just a few moments.